Hello, we will be going over the newest features of our latest TMS update. First, we will start off with a small change that we have to the driver's profile. We open one up here as an example. So you can see here down at the bottom, we have a new field called last drug test date. So you can input the date where the last drug test was taken and save the changes accordingly. Next change that we have is going to be in regards to the truck profile and the assigning date. So we'll open one up here as an example. As you can see, we now have the ability to edit the assigning date. So that was previously locked before, but now we can adjust it if that's something that we need to do. The next change that we have will be in regards to our settlements list. We have added a few columns here. If you go to the visible columns down at the bottom, you now have pay to and pay to owner. So when you add those, you will be able to see who is on the pay to in terms of the vendor and if it was going to the owner. So this should allow you to easier sort the settlement information in terms of who the settlement was generated. Next change that we have is going to be in regards to our driver's inspections. We have added a new field here called comments. So as you can see, you will be able to input any new comments. And if you edit them, you will also see who made the actual change and when it was modified. So you can now keep track of a history of comments for each of those driver inspections. Next change that we have is in regards to our order planning. So we have added an additional column here up at the top called picture. So if we have this box selected, we'll scroll here to the right, you'll be able to see any orders that would have pictures attached to them. So if we want to filter and we want to see which ones have pictures, you will then see a yes or a no in the column that would be called picture. Next change that we have is going to be in regards to our split drops for LTLs. So let's open up LTL here as an example. So as you can see, when you go to the stops tab and you want to add a split drop, there's no longer the split drop parenthesis LTL, it's only split drop. So in essence, if you need to do a split drop under an LTL, you will have to add it here on the stops under the actual LTL order. And then when you dispatch that stop after attaching the LTL to the main order then can continue, whereas the LTL then will only be split dropped itself. For example, local driver taking it from a yard and the main order continuing with the original truck and drive. Next change we have is going to be on some intermediate windows. So we'll show an example here. Let's go to settlements. So any screen here where you are adding, for example, drivers, and you're searching here for the drivers, you will now see their first and last names. So in addition to the settlements page, any reports where you're adding drivers, we will now see their full name and not just their last name in this little intermediate window that pops up. Next change that we have is in regards to the movements history. So we have added some information here. Let's calculate some data. As you can see now, we have these two columns that were added called movement ID and load number to this movements history. Following changes are going to be in regards to our vehicle inspection here under shop. So we have made some changes. When you are creating now a new vehicle inspection, you will now see type to select, which will be inbound and outbound. So it will no longer be the two columns here separate. So first you will be selecting an outbound inspection, You'll see the user that created it would be the one that's logged in. You're still picking your truck. And then the same process, you're selecting what was checked, putting any notes that are needed, as well as selecting additional data. And then once you save the changes, you'll see that we have the additional button here called Sign. So this is the next feature that we have for the vehicle inspection, where you can actually have then a driver sign from the tablet and approve it. So as you can see here, you can sign it, and in essence that will generate a file here for you showing that the vehicle inspection was signed, and you'll be able to view it from the system. So you'll be able to see what was selected, who signed it. So in essence, if you're providing the truck to a driver when he's going outbound on the road, he can confirm that he checked certain things. Let's say, for example, there was a dash cam, and then when he brings the truck back, you have proof that he approved it and signed off on that original inspection. So while we're still talking about the vehicle inspections as well, if we are adding then our inbound inspection, we have to now, as you can see, associate it with the previous outbound inspection. So if we click on the list, as you can see, it will give us all outbound inspections that have not been brought back in terms of being inspected. So we can select that previous one. As you can see, you have the notes to go off of from the outbound. And then you will have this new section for the inbound inspection. And it will be the same format. You can select which fields, put in your notes, and also sign off on the inbound if needed. Again, this will work very easily from a Microsoft Surface tablet as well. The last change that we have in regards to this update will be under our preferences here, under accounting. We have now added an additional feature if you have a factoring email set up, that you can add multiple emails. You have to separate them by a comma, and it will send them to multiple email addresses if needed for your factoring company. So that concludes our TMS update. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.